Well, hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to Educational Moments with Dr. Naita. How's everyone? I hope everyone has had a wonderful week and you've been productive and accomplishing all your goals and doing all the things you said you were going to accomplish this week. Well, let me tell you, I have a show planned for tonight. I am so excited. I have some incredible guests that are getting ready to stop by. They just pulled up, so they're like getting to the door and everything. So I'm just so excited. And as soon as, they come in, I promise we are going to get started. And there's the doorbell. So I guess my guests have arrived. So let's see. Let's see. Come on in. Hey. Hey. Well, I have some extra special guests today. I have with me today Mr. Joshua Colson, and we'll call him Josh. He'll introduce himself and tell you a little bit about himself. And I also have with me Pastor Trey, and he too will share a little bit about himself before and as we get into the discussion. And then I have near and dear. Oh, all of them are near and dear to my heart, but this one, of course, weighs heavy on my heart. He's number one, and that's none other than Travius Herndon. So I'm so glad that each of you are here. So everybody, let's give my guests some love. Give them some love. Yes, yes. You like that, huh? You like that. So look, we are going to engage in a conversation about real issues that are going on in our society today. Now, you know me, of my, people who have been watching the show and have been following, I like to have fun and we're going to engage and, be hyped and all of that. But today is going to be serious and I'm hoping that we'll have some fun. But most importantly, we're going to share some insight and some information that will not only empower you, but will give you information that you can, as Joshua say, recycle into the community.
Definitely.
So our topic tonight is next gen, talking about these young men right here, 20 and 30-year-olds, next gen, prepared and engaged. Specifically, we're looking at young, successful African-American males who are here to discuss the unrest that's going on in our communities and the future. And the purpose is to engage in a dialogue with these young men who have beat the odds, yet they still carry societal and emotional scars associated with being young and Black in America. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Does that sound good? Does that sound good, gentlemen?
Definitely.
Yes, definitely. Let's do it.
Let's go. Let's go. So with that, if you would just briefly, introduce yourself, tell us maybe what you do as a career, and that's it. Yeah. To get started. Josh, you can go first.
Hello, everyone. This is my first time on the show. As you can see, my name is Joshua Colson. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. I'm a Rollins College graduate. I majored in sociology. Currently, I work as a juvenile probation officer. And in my free time, I try to put people in a better position. So as Dr. Naida said, I'm a real big change agent, and I like to be a ladder and a catalyst to help people be in better positions to be at their fullest potential, regardless if you look like me or not. So that's who I am, and that's what I'm about. And I'm really excited about this conversation. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Josh. Pastor Trey.
Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you clearly.
I want to say, first of all, I'm thankful for the opportunity, Dr. Naida, to be on here. I'm very appreciative of that. But I'm Pastor Trey. I am a full-time youth pastor here in the city of Jacksonville, Florida, born and raised. Being a youth pastor is what I do. I love pouring into what we call the next generation, that I call the now generation. I'm thankful to the fact that we're able to be a blessing to this generation. And I also, not only am I a full-time youth pastor, I do run a few businesses. I have an eyewear line, and I'm also a author. I do have 2 books that are out. And so that's a little bit about me.
All right. Thank you, Pastor Trey. And then my heartbeat.
Hey, my name is Travius Herndon. I go by Trey. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm up in the Herndon, Virginia area. I am a currently a contractor for the U.S. government. I also get to serve at with the youth, and just love serving in my church. I love to empower others to make wise decisions, and I go about my day with that train of thought, looking for whom I can serve.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. I understand. So thank you. Thank you all for introducing yourselves. I understand there is a problem on Facebook, and I have a little arrow thing. So I'm trying to direct everyone now to YouTube. So I'm posting this now, just letting them know. And my YouTube channel is Dr. Naita Guin. So everyone can go to YouTube, that would be awesome. Awesome. And then, as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and pull up my YouTube so that I can see comments as they're coming in. Okay, yep, I see us. We have people watching. So very good, very good, very good. All righty, let me see if there's a way I can. Oh, I hear myself. I don't think that's supposed to happen. Okay, I'm trying to see if there are comments, and people are texting saying, I can't see you. I can't see you. All right, go to YouTube. Everyone go to YouTube. Naita. All righty. During COVID, one thing we have learned is how to be flexible, right? Technology and how to be flexible. All righty. So again, for those who are just logging in on YouTube, since Facebook is not being our friend this evening, I have these three incredible young men who are going to talk about beating the odds as African American males, beating the odds, becoming successful, and while yet still carrying the emotional and the societal scars of being African American in America. So with that, let's just jump right in. I mean, I'm just gonna jump right in. Okay, I'm going for the juggler. Okay, question: what does Black Lives Matter mean to you? And the reason I ask that is because you know, a lot of time, the term Black Lives Matter has received such a negative connotation because of some rioting that has occurred in very few of the peaceful protests that have gone on in the nation. So because of that, Black Lives Matters, the whole term gets coined as something negative. It gets termed as something, you know, bad. So I want to hear from young men, what does Black Lives Matter mean to you? And let's see, Pastor Trey, we'll start with you, and then we'll just keep rotating.
I want to say, first of all, I love this question. And, you know, we've talked about this in many sessions that I've been in. And like you said, people get the wrong, develop the wrong mindset relating to Black Lives Matter. And what troubles me is in the fact, or what hurts my heart is in the fact that we have to even say that Black lives should matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like that alone really grieves me. And you know, we know that Black all lives matter, and we hear that all the time, but we want people to know that Black lives matter. That's all we're saying. That's all we're trying to get across, because it's showing that in our land today that to some degree Black lives don't matter.
Okay.
And looking at it from a different perspective, you know, the fact that, you know, we are targeted because of our skin color, the fact that people discriminate against us because of our skin color, because I'm a Black male, and because I'm a successful Black male, shows that my life matter. Shows that my life does matter, because of, you know, if you got time to hate on me because of the color of my skin, that shows that it must be something unique, something different, something peculiar about me that even that has to be a focus point. And if you're focusing on that, that shows me my life matters anyway.
Right. Very good. I like that. Thank you. Thank you. Trey.
Man, Pastor Trey already encompassed a lot of my thoughts and sentiments. So just to avoid a few redundancies, I will say I'll go in a different direction. Saying again, I totally agree with everything Pastor Trey already laid out. Black Lives Matter to me also means that you got to be willing to. It's sad how society has twisted the sentiment of Black Lives Matters, and you have to be able to delineate the difference between what is being called now the sentiment versus the actual organization. And
Okay.
so, just a quick context to that. There's a sentiment, meaning it's sad as that we have to even highlight the fact that our lives matter and what's happening to us as a people. But then there's also this organization that I've seen people try to disqualify the work and the progress being made because that the organization might not align with everybody's belief systems, of which I'm not I'm not totally in alignment with the organization, but that doesn't disqualify the fact that the term and the sentiment Black Lives Matter is a true problem that we must highlight in society. And when you say Black Lives Matter, that's like the lowest threshold if you really want to look at it like somebody having to matter. You know, we should
Mhm.
be saying Black Lives thrive. You know, Black Lives progress. You know, Black Lives something else, but matter is kind of like the floor. And we're the only way is up, but we it needs to be said and it needs to be known that our people matter.
Wow. Very good. Excellent. Excellent. Josh, would you like to contribute?
Yeah, um, definitely. When I think of the term Black Lives Matter and what it means to me, I think that people tend to become comfortable when you can objectify a black life if it's in sports or if it's in talent and if it's at a higher status. I feel like it doesn't matter the status and the objectification of a black life. Our black life matters the day that we're born, every day that we take a breath, every day that we walk outside our door, regardless of our status or regardless of how comfortable we may allow somebody to feel. It shouldn't matter in that aspect. And I also feel like we tend to respond and react at a death, but we need to matter during life because once we die, that's it. There's no coming back from that. We need to be able to live comfortably and to be able to get through day-to-day interactions without having the fear of possibly losing our life. And I feel like the fear and the discomfort of somebody else should not determine if we live or die in certain situations like police brutality or police interactions. So from day one that we are born, our life matters. And like Trey said, that is the bottom. You know, we should be looked at as human beings first. But we were blessed with this, the skin color of being black, and we was blessed with the strength. And at times it feels
Right.
like weight, but we getting through it, and I feel like we're definitely getting closer.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. So when we look at the unrest within our communities, the civil unrest, and we look at what we hope to gain, what is the outcome? The question then becomes, what does measurable success looks like to you, or social justice? What does that look like to you? When you think about, okay, at the end of all this protesting, what do we hope to accomplish? What is the measurable outcome that we want to see? When we say we, of course, we can't speak, the four of us cannot speak for all African Americans. We can't do that. But when you look from your perspective, maybe from your circle of influence, what does measurable success look like to you? And we'll start with you, Trey.
Um, I would say I've definitely evolved in my thought process pertaining to this. At certain points, I've looked at, well, what does civil litigation look like? What does it look like to uh, do certain things within our community? What public programs are available? But out of all the things, I've kind of wrestled with as it pertains to success, I landed on you know, the what is most important in this society, and that's the almighty dollar. So
Mm, mm,
if people really have a desire to share and show that Black Lives Matter and that they want to see a, fundamental change in the societal norms of Black people, then I feel like the way that you have success is by empowering us economically. And so that looks like a multitude of things depending on your situation. That means uh increasing the employment, but not just saying I got a job. Like, we've been surviving for centuries now. It's time to thrive. I want to, Black CEOs, Black business booming, Black entrepreneurship, things of that nature that shows like, hey, like this group of people is no longer just like, you know, we just keeping on, boss. Like
Out of that.
we actually, prospering. It's like, wow, like not only am I proclaiming Black excellence within my community, but every community that comes across, and experiences what we bring to the table, they see it because we're prospering economically.
wow. I love that. I love that. And I do have a comment I want to make, but I want to hear from everybody. Josh, you're next. What does measurable success look like to you?
It's innate. It's innate that we had the resources and that we're comfortable with success. Another
Mm.
issue is
Explain that. Comfortable with success. That's interesting.
I feel like Trey said, we've gotten so comfortable in sustaining through survival. It's innate that we know how to get through the day. It's innate that we know how to just make it through another day. It's innate that we know how to overcome obstacles. But it needs to be innate that we see success around us and however it's done.
Ooh,
So
I love it.
we need to, that's what measurable success looks like to me. And I really put pressure on people that are in positions of success to use nepotism when you're a person of color. And what that means is when you employ your family and friends. If you are in a position where you are a doctor, you are a lawyer, you are a dentist, you're a pharmacist, you do hair, and you have young Black people that have interests, hop on that. Put them on.
Put
Put
your
Yeah.
them in
people on.
Mm-hmm.
allow them to shadow you. Put their resume at the top of the list because that's how some other people are doing it. You know what I'm saying? That's what measurable success looks like to me, and that's what I want to see more of. And I want it to be natural. I don't want it to necessarily be as a favor. I want it to be because you want the impact and the reach that you have to pour over into the life of another young Black male, where we're recycling, and it becomes normal. It becomes normal. It becomes normal to each generation, each generation, and each generation. So I think that's what Black success looks like, and I'm just tired of seeing one person in the family make it. We all need we all need to share that knowledge. If you know something and somebody's eager and hungry to get it, give it to them. And you
Good.
know, that's how I feel.
Good, good. I love that. And even when you were saying about, when one person in the family
Yeah.
make, and how important is it that everyone, reaches their level of success. Pastor Trey, I'm going to ask that question, about measurable success, but I want to go back to Trey for a moment. Trey, as the oldest and having younger siblings, how important was it to you to demonstrate what that success looked like and then, push and encourage your younger siblings? Or was that even a mindset of yours?
Oh, it was definitely a mindset, and I think like I grew into it as I got older, to understand like it could easily have been a scenario where I could have just, you know, did my own thing and not have pursued a level of success or pursued um doing right, and showing my siblings the way. And it wasn't a plan of mine, but I've learned that they're watching.
Oh,
Like
yes.
your siblings are watching. They want to know what you're doing. They want to know why you're doing it, and they pick up on it. And rather that's your career and ambitions, rather that's how you raise your family, rather it's how you treat your spouse. Like they're watching and they're listening. And I've learned like uh to take that as healthy pressure, to make sure that when I look back, I can say I served my siblings in that way.
That's awesome. And you're doing a great job, I may add. All right. All right, Pastor Trey, what does measurable success look like to you?
Man, they've said some awesome stuff, and I voice the same sentiments, and I concur with what they've already said because, when I look at success, especially in the Black community, we've always had a poor mindset, like, that it's not okay to be successful. And when I
Mm.
discover who I am and whose I am, I really understand that it's okay to be successful. It's okay to promote entrepreneurship.
Mhm.
We should be promoting entrepreneurship and killing this poor mentality because when we think about poor in our Black neighborhood, it's just a mindset. I teach and mentor my teenagers at the church. I say the acronym for poor is passing over opportunities repeatedly. We have
Uh-oh, stop
opportunities
that.
in front of us every day, and we're talking about we're poor. No, there's
Passing
no way.
over. Passing over.
Opportunities repeatedly.
Okay.
So we gotta empower our young people. Go to college, but also start a business at 10 years old, 11 years old. They didn't teach us this kind of stuff when I was young. So we should start being successful at even a younger age and not wait until we get the degree. Start now, like Trey, I believe, said, pouring into somebody else and picking somebody else up, helping somebody else to understand what you already understand, and then all of us can become successful.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. Whew, I am in the company of such awesome men. I want to read a quick statement to you. Well, I'll try to make it quick. And I'm sure once I start reading, you will know who the author is. But it says, I think America must see that riots do not develop out of thin air. Certain conditions continue to exist in our society, which must be condemned as vigorously as we condemn riots. So then it goes on, and does anyone know who the author of that statement is? Okay, let me read a little more and see if you know who the author is. Let me go down to, okay, and okay, it says, and as long as America, well, no, I don't read that part. It says, let's read this part. It says, but in the final analysis, a riot is the language of the unheard. And what is it that America has failed to hear? It has failed to hear the plight of the Negro poor, and it has worsened over the last several years. Anyone know who wrote that? Who said that, Trey?
MLK.
Dr. King, yes, he did. And he said that back in the 60s. And that was like 60 years ago, 70 years ago, almost 70 years ago. And the plight is still the same. So this leads to my next question, and that is, how important do you believe economic empowerment is in our fight for social justice? How important is economic empowerment in our plight for social justice? I'll let anybody. Okay, Josh, go for it.
It's very important. It's very important because as Black people, we know our strength, we know our power, and we're not seeking handouts and favors. If anything, it's time to create them because we have everything that we need to display that economic power and that economic empowerment. And today, I believe, is a time to show that we don't have to go to other companies. We don't have to go to other businesses. We don't have to branch out to be successful. We can do that on our own. And it is going to take some help of laws and legislation and, lessening diminishing the systematic oppression on Black people, but also with us realizing and initiating our own power, our own resources, and our own strength to start getting that engine running as far as economic empowerment. I believe we'll set it up for the next generation, now and forever.
Awesome. Awesome. Who wants to jump in? That's Trey. Go for it.
Yeah, I'll jump in. He said some awesome stuff. But I believe economic empowerment is very important, and what that looks like to me is teaching about investing. Some of the things that we don't talk about within our families that I just had a discussion with somebody. We don't talk about IRAs. We don't talk about stocks and mutual funds and bonds
Right.
and the stock market. We don't talk about that kind of stuff in our community.
Mhm.
You know, entrepreneurship, even the more now than ever before. And so that's why I believe it's important. And when we start having that conversation about leaving legacy, setting aside money, because let's be honest, in our community, we spend our money on the most crazy stuff that we don't need. And that's because we're not empowering people. And then sometimes we are empowering people, and some people just don't want to listen to what we're trying to say. And
Yeah.
so I believe it's very important, especially in our community, because I believe it will help us to own our own stuff, own our own banks, and things of that nature, to where we don't have to depend on other people.
Very good. Love it. Love it. Trey.
Yeah, you know, I was mentioning this in the last question, but economic empowerment is like it's the beginning of like our ability to make things happen. I'm you know I am a believer, but I also know we live in an economic world, and it's so important to understand like how uh as Pastor Trey was saying, how money works. Understanding that you should be, investing and appreciating assets, not depreciating assets that soon as you drive off the lot, it now costs less than it was when you first touched it, and things of that nature, and understanding what a 529 is, so that when your child becomes 18 years old, they don't have to question like, well, what college can I afford? Is what college do I want to go to, or what degree or major is going to stimulate the next job that I'm gonna create for me and my family, and for those that have similar passions and ambitions as I do within the Black community. And so you begin to shift the narrative to not what will my money or what will this loan allow me to do, to what has God empowered me, what has been put in my heart to do, and it kind of shifts your mindset from what can I do to what am I supposed to be.
Awesome. Awesome. Josh.
I'll follow up with that. I feel like with our culture, especially during this time, especially in this generation, since we're talking about next gen, we were not built. We were not built to take. We were built to create. We were built to create our own future. We were built to create our own present. We are built to create new opportunities and to break those chains that we had years and years and years ago and forever, that we've become comfortable with. And it's not the most comfortable thing to do, but it's necessary. It's absolutely necessary. We were built to create and to continue to grow our people, and this is the time to do it.
So if I hear you correctly, it's a sacrifice that is necessary right now.
Yeah.
It's really funny. I think it was Pastor Trey about not talking to your family about investing and so on. I had an interesting discussion today with my daughter, whose financial aid and scholarships and all those funds have dropped. They have dropped. So now you have this sum of money that you're supposed to plan out for the whole semester. And I'm like, well, why not drop some of that money into some long-term savings where you can at least, gain a better interest rate. Right?
Yeah.
Purchase a little bit of stock, right now, with that money, somebody else, the government money that has been given to you, or scholarship money that's been given to you, so that you can then, just let that money earn some money for you. So it's never too early to start talking about these things, and it's never too early to start making some good financial moves. even if it's, buying 1 and 2 shares of stock, even now. So why is that so important? So that kind of leads, well, it doesn't kind of, it definitely leads to my next point, because I wanted to talk a little bit about the difference between the protesting and the riotings that we've read about and we've seen from the 60s from what we see today. And back in the 60s, when they were protesting, they were, coming together. They were unified. They were bringing national attention to real problems. But all of that was then followed by an economic action. They boycotted. They did different things so that they would hit businesses and communities in their financial pockets. And when we can hit people in their financial pockets, they will move legislation. They will make things happen. But it's about that economic, we have to, take economic action. And like Trey, I believe it was you that mentioned about, economics, that we have to hit people and where it counts, because it's that almighty dollar that counts. So when I look at, forcing this new legislation and everything, what are some other ways outside of just marching, outside of getting together, once a week? What are some other ways that we can protest?
You just said it best, Dr. Naida.
Yes.
Okay. You just said it best when you was talking about hitting them in their pockets. That I think that's one of the biggest things that I've been talking about beyond the marching and the protesting. Buying black. Those same companies that we invest in, these major white companies that we invest in, we have black companies like that we need to put our money in. And so when you hit them where it hurts, that changes the narrative.
But Pastor Trey, here's what I find is that people are, they're all gung ho. Okay, I'm going to buy black and I'm going to eat black and all this stuff. And then Chick-fil-A, but look, I got to go Chick-fil-A, So how do we do this? How do we do this? I'm going to buy black till it's time to get my nails done. I don't do nails, so I do mine natural. But we say that, we taught that, but how do we make it a reality, Pastor Trey?
I believe it's in what we just talked about, empowering our people even the more. And we do talk a good game. Lord knows, you see it all over social media. Buy black. We see it, but are we actually doing it? I take it upon myself to, if somebody comes out with a book, I buy their book or anything. I don't care what it is. I don't care. Even if I'm not using the product, I'm going to buy it just because they're black. That's just me. Okay. That's just me. But I know everybody doesn't have that mindset. And one of the reasons that helped me to develop that mindset, when I figured out when the garbage truck comes and picks up my garbage with a machine every week, when I figured out how things are changing in reality, in retrospect to the fact that CEOs, when you come out of college, you're looking to, after you get your degree, you're looking to work for a big company and get this big salary. But that's not the reality nowadays, because CEOs are getting smart. They're investing in machines and not people. So when I figured that out, I'm like, okay, we got to do something different. We have to look out for each other. If we don't, man, it's going to be a sad day.
Interesting. Anybody else want to add to that?
I would say putting people in a position. I feel like when we unify and when we march, that shows a grand scale of how we could be in the same place at the same setting. But people that are making laws that are causing suppression and oppression with black people, they are not outside marching. They're putting their suit on, they're going to work, they're picking up that pen, they're signing that law. We need to be at the table when these meetings are happening, when people are donating. We need to be aware of that so we can say, hey, you know what? This is not going to work in the favor of our people as well. We need to find our way in those positions, in those meetings, in those hallways, in those coffee dates, all that stuff, because they're not outside saying, hey, I just signed this bill.
It's going to Yeah, to close all the inner city schools. Yeah.
Right. And we need to be at the table. We need to be at the table. We
Right.
need to be at the table. And we also need to educate our kids. We need to educate our youth that are in high school. And we need to set aside time to say, okay, these are certain things that you should start looking at. These are certain names of people that you need to know. This is how you get in this position. This is how you network. This is how you communicate. This is how you get things done. This is how you become a change agent. We need to start stimulating our minds differently from entertainment, but more towards education that's going to boost us even further than just marching or just riding compared to the 20s, compared to the 60s and our current time. So I would say that, and then like Pastor Troy said, be on the same page when we do say that we're going to do something. It's simple as a hashtag. I believe on LinkedIn it was my Black Receipt. It was a specific time over the summer where people would post a Black receipt of buying from Black-owned businesses. It was something similar to that, but it showed people across the nation that we were on the same page during this specific time. We were going to buy Black. And I feel like when we do that, when we show that we can do that, and when we do that consistently, not just for a couple of days, but when we do that consistently, we don't make up that much of the population, but we have a big buying power. We have the lowest recycling of our funds in our community. But when we realize that, when we put that back in, and our kids have better schools, they're better equipped, they know how to get in positions to stop oppression and suppression against our people, I believe that we can make change. And that's the even better way than protesting, in my opinion.
Very good. Thank you. Trey, did you want to add anything to that?
I don't know if I can. That these gentlemen really spelled it out. And it definitely comes down to some of those concepts that they've already mentioned: each one, reach one, and teach one. Things of that nature. Understanding how laws are suppressing, as being stated, such as how can property taxes be the way that schools are funded, but we know that there's a certain disparity as it pertains to home values in certain parts of town. So you mean to tell me if I live in the hood or if I live in a certain area, since the property values are low, that means that my school is going to be funded poorly, which perpetuates poor educational outcomes. And so you have things like that where when you really grasp and understand, like, this is systemic oppression, this is the reason why it looks like we can't get ahead, then we've got to put ourselves in position, like, hey, like, this got to be overturned, or hey, this right here, no matter how much money you throw at the problem, the problem is fixed to be a concern for generations to come. So we have to get in position. We have to know our rights and understand the bondages that's been set in place, and break those chains, and then avoid the crab pot mindset. We are so, like, close and proximity to great people and to the next person that can direct you to what you need or to your next step. It's there's like a 1 to 2 degrees of separation in a lot of instances, where if we just decide, like, okay, my resources are it's just an open revolving door, as long as the right people with the right heart are available and need them, versus, well, I made it, like, and not ever reach that, and not ever considering how can I advance my brother or my sister. When we really start gravitating to that and really, like, operate on a day-to-day basis with that, like, we will see growth happen in our communities, and the protesting and rioting will actually produce a real outcome for us as a community.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I want to shift the subject for this last question, shift the conversation a little. And this is a topic that is too oftentimes overlooked within our community. And that's grieving. And I'd like for you to just share with with me, what is your grieving process during all of this? When we look at all of the riotings, we see the social injustice, we see, people getting away with things that that is not right, it's not fair, and you're seeing young men your age dying, not to mention all the impact that we have had as a community with COVID, COVID-19. We have seen so many illness, so many people who have been sick, definitely have experienced the most number of deaths within our population. So how do you handle grief? And I'm going to start with the trays, and I want to let Josh close it out because he has something a little bit different that I want to share. So how do you process grief during all of this, with all the funerals that your church has had? Pastor Trey, how do you deal with grief? How are you processing grief as a young man?
I would say with everything that's going on, as you just said or stated, COVID-19, so many deaths, funeral after funeral we've done week after week, got 2 this weekend. What has really helped me with everything as far as the killing with the cops and all of this stuff is seeing things from God's perspective. And I'm not trying to over spiritualize it. I'm just being real about how I deal with it. It has helped me to really look at it from a positive perspective and go even harder relating to my purpose. It has helped me to we talked about empower every young man I see, every opportunity I get that I took for granted before COVID. I make it my duty to stop them and give them a word or every opportunity that's in front of me. It has just pushed me to take my anger and turn it into something positive. Because, I could be angry all day, and I want to fight. I do. I come from the hood. I come from Fairfield Street. And I promise you, I can fight, but I realized I realized that I needed to channel that anger into something positive and help somebody else even doing what's going on. So looking at things from God's perspective has helped me, asking myself questions like, God, what is it that you're trying to get me to learn from this? God, what is it that you want me to do in this season? And so that has helped me in my grieving process.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Trey, how do you grieve?
Yeah, definitely similarly to that was stated. I've cried, I've been mad, um, I've um, I've wondered like how do we move forward. I've encountered people with absolutely no thoughts or response to it, like complete apathy. And I've encountered people that don't look like me with a whole lot of empathy. And so what I've gathered was like that there is an awareness, and there is a care for our people beyond our people. And I've allowed not only that, but allowed just through prayer, just to understand, like similar to what Pastor Trey is saying, like how am I and what am I supposed to be doing in my position to affect change for the communities that I'm called to serve. It called, I guess, grief. I've grieved to laser my focus. Instead of allowing it to defeat me, because there's a defeating component to where it's like, where does this ever end, or
right,
when might I be next, type deal. But there's also a victorious perspective that allows me to say, I can't change everything. I will pray, and prayer will only go so far. Prayer changes things. But I'm also empowered to action, and I'm empowered to be in position to where I'm called to and to do do what I'm, led to do, and just realizing like I can go from there, and just let and watch God give the increase.
Awesome, awesome. So, Josh, we're talking about grieving, and how do you grieve? And then after you share that, I want to talk about a grieving process that you turn to a positive.
Okay, definitely. I will say at first, some responses to some of the violence that we've seen towards Black people, it has caused me to cry. It has caused a great deal of pain. Like you all have said, I've channeled that into making it an intent in my life to continue to hold my head high, to continue to live life with poise, confidence, and strength, and continue to equip people and younger people that look like me, and some older people that look like me, to know how to navigate, to know how to self-preserve, to know how to get in tune with themselves, to know how to get in tune spiritually, to learn that by being in certain positions, you can help yourself move forward. So in seeing that, knowing that you're being equipped, knowing that you have the armor, knowing that you have the tools, I believe that will allow people to get, more through their day. And I just feel like a man must be a participant in the shaping of their own destiny. So if I allow this stress and if I allow this grief to hinder me from moving forward and reaching my fullest potential, I'm allowing somebody else or something else to win. And I can't do that. That's not my purpose. My purpose is a lot bigger than that. So that's how I grieve. I fight it, and I take it head on, and I also bring other people to the fight. And I also make sure they're coming to the fight equipped and ready to fight.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you. I have known Josh almost all of his teen years. I think I met when he was like 14. And he's a ripe old 22. He's one who graduated with his AA degree and high school diploma. Were you 17 or 18? 18? Had you just 18? 18. And then you graduated with your bachelor's, at 20? And has been in the workforce for a couple years. And by all accounts, he could easily say, hey, I made it. I made it without you, because all the years that I've known him, it has been he and his mama. That's all I've ever known. But in a conversation that he and I had recently, he told me about the love that he is sharing with his dad. And I'm like, okay. So by all accounts, he could have easily said, look, I made it. I've been through college on a fast track. I did this, and I did this without you. But something changed. What happened, Josh?
I'm I've always had a longing and a desire to have my dad in my life. And I've always had a open heart to embrace him when he wanted to be present, when he was able to be present, when he had the strength to be present, because sometimes my father didn't have the strength for himself. So by having an understanding heart and an understanding mindset and still the desire and the love to have my father in my life, even at 22, we have the best relationship that we ever had. He has been vulnerable with me. He has been the father that he's always wanted to be, because it hasn't been too late. We talk throughout the week, and I feel like I need him now more than ever. It doesn't diminish my relationship with my mother. It doesn't diminish her efforts. It doesn't diminish the differences, but it shines light on the love. It shines light on the desire, and it still shines light that though I made it through each goal and each accomplishment, it still shines light on the need for each Black man to have their father in their life. And I wish, that whoever's watching and whoever may not have that relationship with their dad, I don't know their situation, but at least for me, it's working. For my dad, it's working. Those little conversations is working. Those little fishing trips is working. And I'm excited to watch it grow, and I'm excited to see what it will come into, what it will become. And I just thank God for it every time I see his number cross my phone. I thank God for him to have the strength to show me his situation, to show, and it's not bad, but it's not the best. But our relationship is there, and I thank God for it through it all. Yeah.
Awesome. The Trays, you have any encouraging word behind that?
Yeah, I have to speak to that because my father wasn't there for me. And still today, what's crazy is in order for me to talk to my dad, I have to actually call him. But there's a but. What helped me to get to the place, because most young, I talk with young black men all the time whose fathers are not there, and they make excuse after excuse after excuse. And I commend you, man. You could have made all kind of excuses, but you were able to channel that energy and still build a relationship with your father, regardless. And but what helped me, God really helped me even today to help me to understand, even though my father's not there, my father is there.
Definitely.
And so when I understood that, that helped me to be the better person, to know that I have a father that will supply all my needs, and I have a father that can do way more than my earthly father. So that helped me to look at it from God's perspective. And even today, I reach out to my dad. I take the kids to see my dad, even though he doesn't do it. I take the initiative to do it, and it makes me feel good.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Whew, that was good, man. I need a Selah. I need a Selah moment, man. Y'all want me to talk, and I'm Selah over here, but honestly, I resonate with that. My dad was present in my life, and just awesome in his unique way towards me. But I want to definitely put a different spin on in regards to the conversation as pertains to fathers, like even for those that may consider themselves hurting because of the lack of their father being present. And as Pastor Trey eloquently stated, we have a heavenly father who will fill and bridge the gap impeccably. But also be mindful of what you're learning, and what is and what isn't, because someday you may and probably will become a father. And that's one thing that I've been just learning. Like I'm now a dad. I have a 15-month-old, and some of the things that I envision for fatherhood, I would not be able to carry out if I were to hold a certain type of grudge towards my father, or not be open to um, learning from the weight and brevity of fatherhood. Now, like it's like, oh, okay, well, you might be able to critique a man that was or wasn't there, that did or didn't do right by you, but it also gives you it lends an opportunity for you to serve your family in a unique way, and make sure that you take the time to heal up for whatever you may be struggling with pertaining to that, because when you become a father, you're going to want to have an open heart to share all that love with your kids.
Wow. God, you all are incredible. Oh my God, this was so phenomenal. I appreciate you. I thank you all for coming on. We are well beyond our time. That's all good. But does anyone have any last comments that they want to share? Anything, and you want to tell anybody? I don't know if you're trying to get more followers. You want to share your product? Hint, Pastor Trey. Anything to close us out. Anything.
I'll just say, I want to say again, I appreciate you for having me on here amongst such great people. Dr. Naida, you are amazing. You guys that are on here today, y'all are amazing. I didn't get the privilege to go to college. I did get my PhD. I got my public high school diploma.
Okay.
And so, in having my public high school diploma, God bless me to be empowered to start my own eyeglass company. We specialize in wooden eyewear, amongst any type of eyewear you can think of, and we can do the prescription. And as I said, I'm an author of 2 books. You can get my books at www.jamesfsmith.me. And so I just wanted to say that in closing.
JamesFSmith.me.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. All right. Very good. All right. Anybody else? Trey, would you like to?
I just wanted to follow Pastor Trey's sentiment, telling you thank you, and gentlemen on the call, on this. You guys are phenomenal, and I appreciate the work that y'all doing in the communities y'all serving. Thank y'all. Like, I'm empowered. I feel like I locked on with 2 new brothers. And thank you for facilitating this call. I don't have no products, but yeah, my wife told me to say yes, so I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah.
But
Tiffany.
appreciate y'all for just allowing me to be a part of this moment.
Is the baby asleep?
So sleep, and we're so good.
Okay. Okay. All right, Josh.
All right. First, okay. My mom said thank you. She's been watching the whole time.
Oh, awesome. Hey, Mom.
I just first want to say thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
It was an honor and a privilege to meet, Pastor Trey and you, Trey, as well. And we definitely have to link up, after this conversation, even if it's just a FaceTime call. But I just hope that somebody took something from this conversation. I hope at least one thing resonated, and I hope it goes far. And I don't have any social media.
No, he does. One of the young people that does it.
But you can still add me on Facebook. I don't use it actively, but you can still add me on Facebook under Joshua Colson. And eventually one day I'll have some services and products.
Very good. Well, you guys, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I love you. And I will be in touch with you all soon. Take care, everybody. And good night.
Good night.